Well, what's up guys? Jason here for Soulfire, and today I want to bring you another book review. This is a resource that you can use to help your children along their journey towards sexual integrity in a world that is certainly sending sexually explicit images into the lives of our kids at ever and ever younger ages. And so the resource I want to talk about today is a book called Not If, But When. And let's answer the question, is this a resource that you should use in the lives of your children? So first of all, if you were going to publish a book like this today and you submitted it to a publisher and say, hey, I want to write a book that's going to prepare children for the images that they are undoubtedly going to be bombarded with, most likely your publisher would say, I think somebody already wrote that book. It was called Good Pictures, Bad Pictures. I posted a review on that a few months ago. You can check that out up there. And so the question's got to be answered, in what ways is this book different than Good Pictures, Bad Pictures? And why would you maybe choose a book like this instead of that book? So first, let's talk about our author, John Perritt. He's a director of resources for Reformed Youth Ministries, RYM, and he even has a local youth worker podcast as well. And if you just think about this title, Not If, But When, which is a very good quote. In fact, as I do workshops for parents, I tell them it's not a matter of if your children will see porn, it really is a matter of when. And our author here, John Perritt, went ahead and used that for his title. It's not if our children will see sexually explicit material, it's really a matter of when. And so let's talk about how this book breaks down. What this book does is it gives you as a parent an opportunity to read this story together and to have the conversation with your children to prepare them for sexually explicit images that they will eventually see, and you're going to do that beforehand. Interesting thing about the book, I could not find anywhere on the book or anywhere on their website the age range that they recommend this for. Not totally sure why they didn't give us a specific age range. If you look at a book like Good Pictures, Bad Pictures, or Good Pictures, Bad Pictures Junior, they're very specific about which age range that is for. But let's talk about some realities today in 2020. The reality for your children is that they are going to be exposed to sexually explicit content. Digital devices have brought all the temptations of the world directly into our homes. Our kids at younger and younger ages either have electronic devices themselves or their peers, especially if they're in a public school environment, have electronic devices. And it's not just whether or not your child will grab a device and look up sexually explicit content on their own, but they may have peers that are bringing that stuff into school and putting it in their face. And that is essentially the scenario that is presented here in this book. What this book does is it follows a fictitious story of a child who was at a water park and then was exposed to some content on their peer's phone. They saw some pornographic content and it brought up some confusion in their life. Now, thankfully, in this story, the way that child reacted was they went and told mom or dad. This story is actually divided in half, gender specific. So the first half is the story you would read with your daughter, and the story is a mom reading this to her daughter. And then the second half is written from a father's perspective to his son. So many parents are not having the conversation with their kids about sexually explicit material. They have made the assumption, my kid would never do that, or they're hoping if I don't talk about it, I don't want to spark curiosity in their lives and they won't be exposed to this content. But when I think about that, to me, that's like sending your kids out to play in a playground and you know that there are some mines out there. The mines are pornographic content. And you are just hoping, listen, my kid's gonna be fine. They're not gonna step on any of those landmines. We're just gonna send them out there to play. Everything will be okay. But you know, in this digital landscape, pornography today has gotten its tentacles into every single area of the digital world. It is highly unlikely that your children can be on electronic media, television, video game systems, social media, tablets, smartphones, all of these things without at some point being exposed to that content or having a peer saying, hey, check that out, maybe receiving a sexually explicit text message. Now, as I talk to parents, I say that there's essentially two ways that we could react. The one way is to be proactive. The other option is to be reactive. Reactive means when our kids are bombarded with this stuff and we find out it's in their life, then we react and we try to address it. So actually, when I do workshops for parents, most of the parents who show up, they have teenagers and they're already fed up with all these digital dangers and the exposure that their kids have on social media and some of these other digital means. But a much better strategy as parents is for us to be proactive, be realistic and prepare our kids for what they are going to be bombarded with. That's where a resource like this really helps. If you're saying to yourself, I've got kids, they're under 10, I have no idea how to have that conversation, use a book like this. Sit down with your child, read the story together, and understand that you want to be talking about this type of content and preparing them for it. My hope for my children is, God forbid, when they are exposed to that type of content, that they say to themselves, I know what that is. Dad talked to me about that. That's pornography. I know why, as this book explains, why that doesn't honor God, why that objectifies both men and women, why that is going to be something that could be addictive for me and really hurt my ability to have intimacy with others. These are some of the things that this book clearly walks through. Some of the things that I like about the book is this book goes ahead and talks about how pornography is distorting God's good gift of sex. It talks about how God's design for sexuality is a gift that He has given to us. He walks us through how to have a conversation with our kids about why you don't want to stir up these desires too early. Each chapter has some colorful pictures. It's put together really well, and it's the type of thing that's not going to take you too long to read. They also have a passage in Scripture that you can read alongside of your child. So, do I recommend that you pick up Not If But When? Absolutely. I think this book is phenomenal. We as parents, we need something that can guide us how to have that conversation with our children. I would put it right on the same plane with Good Pictures, Bad Pictures. They both have their strengths and weaknesses. I think you can't go wrong using either one. Maybe you even want to use both so you can have a continued conversation. From reading through this myself, my sense would be maybe 8 or older would be a good time to start with a book like this. If your kids are under 8, I would say go ahead and check out Good Pictures, Bad Pictures, or Good Pictures, Bad Pictures Junior. Check out the affiliate link below. You can buy this book for yourself on Westminster Books. This is Jason for Soulfire. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.